knowing when you live in a community all your life, you see growth, development, possibility, but then you also see a lot of disappointments, considering the fact that we've worked so hard with things that we had here. St. George is kind of half and half historical, and then there's more of a contemporary side, but the contemporary side never really got to where it was supposed to be. For example, I always believe that there should be a rail system that was extended from the South Shore, which goes into the North Shore. Now, many years ago, they had this ability. Nothing ever finishes here on the North Shore. Again, I'm here on the waterfront, where there's clearly an incomplete mode of what I said was a bad idea was the Ferris wheel. Now, they could have built the city. They could have built things. They could have put incredible things here. What is the simple question of what do we need in the community? For example, a supermarket. There's not a supermarket close by here, maybe a quarter mile away, but within the St. George community, there's no supermarket. We built this stadium, which was a total waste of taxpayers' money. We are looking clearly at the Ferris wheel, which was a failure. We have the memorial. That's great. But at the end of the day, when 9/11 happened and we had those two towers behind us, that was the bird's eye view. And probably considering the fact that I grew up here and seen that actual day, that morning where I seen those buildings tumble down, it was also a very hurtful thing to know that, all right, that view will no longer be the same. It's always going to be an eyesore. So now we have the Freedom Tower. The Freedom Tower is there, clearly, but it's still not the same. And it's a reminder when we see the Freedom Tower that the Twin Towers are no longer there. We have Twin Towers here in Staten Island, and they're called the Castleton Park Tower. And these towers here are a landmark. It's a contemporary, modern landmark, an enhancement of St. George, but it was always incomplete. So we have this memorial here. The memorial is beautiful. It's for a great cause. At nighttime, it looks great. It's a great place to take pictures. But at the end of the day, is anybody going to come to Staten Island? Most people don't care to come to Staten Island. Most of the culture's in Manhattan, downtown, Midtown, Harlem, Long Island City. The biggest thing that we have down here that has not been touched has been this 9/11 memorial. We need the community to step in. Save St. George. Sign the petition. Speak out. People are tired of these developers ruining our city, ruining our borough. And this is why we don't get respected. And as you can see, again, we have a junkyard here. If you look behind us, like I said, we have the Staten Island Stadium. What happened to that? Know that while we have such this huge stadium behind us, I think since I've been living here all my life, I've probably seen this place crowded one time. And I believe they had one concert. Why is it here? Why? Most people don't even understand that we have a ballpark. For what? As you can see, the area where the ferry boat is coming in, they're actually building another area for the ferry. Need answers. We need development. Let's finish the mess we started instead of developing and leaving the mess there. You know, what are we going to do? Take another chance and build 5 towers in front of 2 beautiful towers to not finish that? Here, this was enough room to build the entire city. What happened to the Irby Center in Stapleton Waterfront Park? With our Army base, a Navy base there, that flopped. Then you put a television studio, that flopped. Put Irby there, and that became a drug-infested prostitution ghetto. Debbie Rose, anybody, please help us. Save St. George. Again, we have the New York Wheel, which was the total flop, a total failure. The stadium, the Staten Island Yankees, was a total failure. What culture is in Staten Island? What culture do we have in St. George? What culture do we have when we walk in this waterfront? We come off the ferry and then we build another 300 feet away. You're gonna put the world's largest Ferris wheel in Staten Island, New York? Wouldn't that have made sense to be anywhere else but here? But you tried building it anyway. You didn't listen to anybody, and $450 million in the red, and it's just sitting here as a junkyard. And this could have been a community. Some people just don't leave things alone. But if you're gonna start something, finish it. You tried getting the money from the city, the mayor denied it. Okay, so that's sitting there. The New York Wheel to the ballpark, nothing again. What about the abandoned rail system that started all the way basically from St. George, basically to Mariners Harbor? Where is the rail system? Where is the system that's coming from here to New Jersey? Where is the rail system that's coming from Staten Island to Brooklyn? Why don't we concentrate on that? Because in order for you to enhance or develop an island, you have to create transportation. Well, not everybody's going to go on a ferry boat. Not everybody's going to pay $20 to take a bridge to a borough that they can go to the other 4 boroughs and pay nothing. There's a promenade that comes from Jersey Street and Richmond Terrace. The promenade pretty much finishes to the ferry. Underdeveloped, never been touched. It had to be in the 1980s. We are underdeveloped when it comes to our transportation. So here we are actually in Bay Street, and this is another example of not only the pandemic has totally affected this, but now, as you can see behind me, there's tons of stores and tons of properties here of commercial real estate that has been closed down. This used to be a grocery store, that's closed. This used to be a diner, that's closed. As you can see, another building is another hotel that's been totally undeveloped. I mean, they've been building this thing forever. And I feel that people are ashamed to be Staten Islanders. When I was a kid, I remember riding my bike right down here in this very area. And I used to always dream the same. Well, I could live in these homes, but those homes are pretty expensive. They're condominiums, some of them. I believe most of them are condos. But again, it wasn't affordable housing, but it did add a structure to the neighborhood. As you can see, that train there actually goes to the South Shore. It starts here in St. George. Everything starts here in St. George, but nothing usually finishes in St. George, right? This used to be actually a parking lot for the Army base, or when there was a naval base that was supposed to be here, and that flopped. Then they tried to make it into a television studio. That flopped. It goes on, and this is the things that people are not paying attention to, the structure in Staten Island, the structure in Stapleton waterfront. To preserve the waterfront is either to preserve it and make natural wildlife, or preserve it by enhancing it, by giving us something we need. Now, I don't know, I'm not a developer, but I am the people. And I feel that people should be involved when it comes to their construction. I don't think people are sitting at a town hall meeting and say, hey, put up a few towers up here. Yes, they would want affordable housing, but there's totally enough room to build affordable housing on these waterfronts if that was the case, instead of blocking the St. George Towers. People don't speak up, and then now we have to speak up. Debbie Rose, councilmen, councilwomen, the president, the mayor, the governor, please save St. George. They are using us, and it's a guinea pig.
Oh! Yeah, what's up? Yeah.